An orange dawn greeted the quiet farming town. The children made their way to school, passing the old stable, past the blacksmith, and beside the river. For generations, this was the path they all travelled. And when the time came for one young girl to start her journey, she too took this same path. She walked past the river with her friends when something caught her eye. Hidden by trees and vines, another path snuck away into the woods. Captivated, she broke off from the group to get a closer look. The path was dark and felt cold, but she couldn't help but stare, seeing a thin glimmer of light far away at the other side. Mesmerized by it, she inched forward, only to be pulled back by the townsfolk. "And where do you think you're going?" The girl froze. "What's down there?" "No one knows. No one has ever travelled down that path. But whatever is down there, it can't be good." "But how do you know?" the girl questioned. "Us townfolk have taken our path for years, and nothing bad has come of it. We don't need you taking that risk." With that, the girl rejoined her friends and took the normal path, a path of which she travelled for years, doing as she was told. No one stepped out of line, and no one got lost. But her curiosity only grew as each day passed, feeling the light drag her closer every time she passed. But as before, the townsfolk would tell her, stick to the path like everyone else. And so she did. Many more years would pass until she made her way to her final day of school. She walked amongst her friends as they yet again passed the forbidden path. "Leave it," her friends urged. "Just stick to the path and you'll be fine." But she took no notice. She surveyed the hundreds of people trundling along the path, happy with their lives, but for her, it wasn't enough. She took a calming breath and ran for the path. Her friends screamed at her, but were too late as she disappeared down the path. In the blink of an eye, everything softened and became strangely peaceful. Before her lay a forest, alive with creatures and greenery. As her eyes adjusted, she saw it was not as dark as first thought. The light at the end of the path already seemed brighter. She perked up, and with a skip in her step, she followed the clear stone pathway, leading her deeper into the forest. Her eyes were drawn to the light, so close now she could almost reach out, but seemingly blinded by it, she tripped on a vine and fell headfirst into a deep valley. She hit the bottom hard, and when she got back to her feet, everything had gone dark, and the path had disappeared. She reached round in the darkness before finding the light, now a long way away. The path home was still clear, but as she searched for the path ahead, she heard harsh whispers pass over her. "You won't make it. You can turn back. It's not worth it." While the thought entered her mind, the pull to the light was still too strong, and she moved forward. She came to a river, hidden below the growing fog choking the air. "If you wish to cross, find the logs below the fog, but be careful where you step, or you'll risk more than just getting wet." She skimmed her foot below the fog and found a log. She stepped forward and closed in on the other side, but too eager, she jumped for another log that cracked below her. She sank into the ooze and felt the water crawl up her body. She tried to wriggle free, but it kept pulling her down. "We warned you. You should have listened. Why did you leave the path?" She tussled against the tide and clawed her way out of the river. She fled, not looking where she was going, and soon found herself surrounded by thorns, weaving and twisting towards her. She tried to run for the light, but the closer she got, the further it stretched away. Panicking, she turned back, but the path home had dissolved into the earth. As everything went black, she could feel the thorns close in around her, trapping her. "You tried to be different, and look what it cost you." Every time she tried to move, she felt the pinch against her skin. "You didn't listen to us, and now you will pay the price. As she accepted her fate, she saw the light break through the thorns, calling to her. She closed her eyes and braced herself. Letting out a fierce scream, she ran through the thorns, sniping at her face, lashing against her legs, but nothing was stopping her. The light grew closer and closer. Through the thorns piercing her, the vines tugging at her, and the swamps dragging her down, she kept moving forward until she broke free and ran into the light. She was blinded and fell to her feet. Everything went silent as the voices stopped. As she came to, she heard the rushing sounds of waterfalls and birds chirping. Rising to her feet, she saw lush, green fields shining under the sun, sitting high in the sky. A view of valleys and peaks she never knew existed, and in them, villages rife with people and opportunities she never thought possible. She had never seen a sight so beautiful and was beyond anything she could have imagined. In that moment, as great as the pain may have been to get there, it all seemed worth it. She thought to herself, if she had never taken the path untravelled, or given up when she felt lost, she would never have seen what her life could have been. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this story and want to hear more like this in the future, please consider liking and subscribing to hear more from this channel.